year's winner of the, is a very good, is another kick-ass artist, poet, and prose writer. I think you really ought to visit the art exhibition she's curated over at Objectives in Arab Street, and which recently got into the press because of interesting censorship incidents as well. Basically, they found this 6-second claymation involving girls in pinafores was too, and the girls stay in their pinafores.
Plasticine girls, not actual.
Plasticine girls. It was found to be R18. NC-16. Okay, NC-16. Okay, Tania.
Hi. So this is called Reasons for the Rain. I'm really not going to send.
No, that's fine. Am I really that short?
Okay. The sudden downpour had affected the pace of the room dramatically. They drew languidly, in a kind of joyful stupor. They had all gone downstairs with their cell phones to relay their excitement to their wives, slapping each other on the backs when they returned. There was no need to rush home, because there was no way anyone could have left the building without getting drenched. People had stopped carrying umbrellas for months, but no one cared. Now that it was raining, they could draw without the heat at their heels. Was Marie the only one who had seen what had happened? Had spotted the stranger curl her lips into a knowing smile, just as the sky split itself open and watered the city with respite? She was sure the stranger had known. Not only had she not seemed surprised, but she had gone on drawing as if nothing extraordinary had happened. Marie could not take her eyes off her, standing there, eyebrows furrowed, shoulders straight, charcoal in one hand, eraser in the other, staring at the paper as if trying to come to an agreement with it. She looked at Marie, who knew nothing, who knew it meant nothing. Marie was getting paid to be looked at. The stranger ran the back of her hand across her face. Marie could see the outline of her shoulder blades through the worn threads of her top. One arm wrapped around her waist as if to hold herself up. Spectacles framing eyes for crimes uncommitted. Fringe short like a temper, fingers long like a good sleep. Scratches running up her forearms, and a mouth one could build a life upon. Happily Ever After isn't the end of the fairy tale. Happily Ever After is the fairy tale. And I've lived it many times, have watched the pages turn over in remorse, revealing larger truths. There is happiness, there is after, but rarely do the two meet. Sorry if I'm being a little dark, the intrusive narrator, her pointless opinions. I just have no stomach for the fluff. And it isn't just me. Some of the older versions were much truer to life. They did not reward good and punish evil. They simply bestowed arbitrary abuse upon whoever they pleased. The only parallel they bear with the tales of today is their particular cruelty to women. Red Riding was devoured, the mermaid committed suicide, and the sleeping princess, raped by her father while she dozed, did not wake to the kiss of a handsome savior, but rather to the sensation of a child sucking on her finger, one of the two she'd given birth to while she was asleep. The piper, now he had it good. He got to practice his art and perform a good service at the same time. And when the people of the village did not want to pay, he enchanted their children over the edge of a cliff. Excellent recourse for freelancers, and solves a lot of the overpopulation problems too. It's no wonder we get the sanitized versions, although how I survived them remains a mystery. I was taught that to be a good woman, I needed to cassette my feet into shoes made of glass, possess a pretty white face, let my hair down a little for parents and lovers to climb. I was told that I had to suffer in silence as my sisters abused me, had to have an ass so sensitive that a pea buried 50 layers of mattress beneath me would wreck my nights with insomnia. I was told that my greatest and only destiny was to meet the love of my life, and that in order to do that, I would have to be asleep throughout the whole story. Many of us still are. fallen many a time for the fairy tales, for painful novels of sublime passion, for advertisements on the subways, for flowers, for love songs. I've believed in magic too. Advice from well-meaning friends, stories my grandmother told, balanced meals, beauty products, friends forever, piano lessons, monogamy, non-monogamy, Michelle Gondry, the ability for us to treat each other like human beings for once, academia, forgiveness, art, poetry, those enchanting things with their magical powers that never quite deliver. And once upon a time, I believed in the biggest fairy tale of all, the one that was supposed to bring an end to the floods, to provide answers where there were none, to give life to the dead. I believed that love was patient, was kind, that it was humble, and that it did not want. I told myself that I would live that story. I engraved it upon my body like a psalm. I carved it into my flesh and carried it like a cross. I walked the desert, closed off all temptation, turned the other cheek until it hurt. Love fell apart anyway. What the tales don't tell you is that the stuff like this does not even make the footnotes. My mother stopped reading me bedtime stories. I'm sorry, I always talk about my mother, she's just so very special. My mother stopped reading me bedtime stories when I was about 7. That is not to say that she stopped reading me stories at bedtime. Rather, that she had replaced tales from the beautiful hardbound children's reader with tales from an illustrated Bible. There was a new story every day, 4 pages of storyboarded images that spoke of larger truths. My favorites were the one that dealt with revelations. I made her tell me about hell repeatedly so that I could look at the pictures. I thought the dragons looked magical and that the fires were very pretty. I spent hours trying to replicate them with color pencils. My mother was a woman who believed that stories which were less than true had no place in our lives. The fact that her bedroom shelves were lined with Mills and Boon's novels seemed to hold no relevance in this equation. When I brought this up a few years later, she claimed that she no longer read them and just needed something to line her shelves. It was not just the fairy tales that went out the window. They were accompanied by all the other tales children thought to be true. I was the kid at school who upset the others by telling them that Santa did not exist. The one who informed the boys who idolized Superman's heroic powers of that magical thing known as special effects. I had lost the keys to my house and it was storming. I was crying and the sky was crying with me. Such are the delusions of the melodramatic. I learned in school that rain fell into lakes and oceans and then evaporated into the sky to form clouds. The clouds grew fat from the weight of their own gluttony, and with a force known as gravity fell once more as rain. The day I met you, I learned that in truth, it was for you the rain fell. It took 2 minutes to unlearn what I spent a lifetime believing. We had been running from one side of the college to the little nook beneath the open staircase. The downpour was sudden and the move to run immediate. The rain blocked out all the other sounds and I could barely hear you laughing as you ran. You were 2 steps in front of me and you turned back to look as you dashed. The rain pulled itself down from the sky and into your hair, taking your shape. As we sat, I saw a single drop go pregnant on your lashes and fall onto your lap. Water seeped through the fabric of your skirt and revealed the shape of your thighs. For you, the rain and I fell naturally, without choice, but also without resistance. The neighbors asked what I was doing. I told them that I was talking to the rain. Their initial concern for my physical safety was clearly starting to look like anxiety about my mental health. They asked where my friend was. How could I have told them that the world had just done a 360 and had transformed itself from a magical kingdom into a sterile city? Without you, I became 5 years old again, getting drenched because condensed moisture grew too heavy. Without you, there is no meaning to gravity, and I must relearn a lifetime of lessons that it took me 2 minutes to forget.